Stress is inevitable, but bliss is a choice. You're about to hear from my special guest today, Selin Bilgin. Yes, of luscious living. This is a phrase that we're just kind of chatting beforehand, and we're going to get into it. So, in this conversation, might be hearing about hormones, periods, turning your cycle into your superpower. Where I know we're going to touch on the topic of constipation, all these things that maybe take us away from bliss amongst that inevitable stress. So, Celine's here to kind of share some of her insight of how she's taken her life to a blissful level, and she helps clients do this on a daily level. So, let's get into it. What is kind of that secret recipe to creating more bliss in one's life?
Yeah, so as we were chatting right before off camera, as life's responsibilities add up, whether it's school, your career, your family, your own health, aging parents, it's kind of hard to feel blissful when all of that's compiled. And on top of that, we put ourselves last typically. And as you were saying, Malcolm, earlier, is that we start to accept feeling maybe bloated or constipated or fatigued. And we have survived up until now feeling that way. And so it's really making that decision and choice to say, hey, I deserve to feel good. I'm meant to be on this planet to make an impact in my own life, my family, my community. And it's really hard, I know from experience, to do that when you have headaches or hormone imbalance, you're not sleeping at night. And so that first mindset piece is to look at, I matter, I came here for a reason, and I deserve to feel good.
Yeah, well, let's back up. Let's talk a little bit about your journey, because as you said, it's easy to kind of say that, but it's much harder to kind of walk the talk. And
of course.
So share a little bit about your journey of like where you were, where you've come to, and then we'll get into like the how.
I love it. So, my journey, I really like to say I've turned my mess into my message because, starting from 16, I was on sleeping medication, then later on struggling with binge eating, yo-yo dieting, then hormone imbalance to a point where a few years ago, I was getting 2 to 4 periods in a month. And I had gone to 2 doctors, my conventional doctor, and I was told to take out my uterus or go on birth control pills.
Wow.
And then the other doctor, asked me to take a test, and that was a $500 Dutch test, which is awesome. I was paying off university loans and then nutrition school at the same time, and that just didn't seem like the next step for myself. Because at the ultimate end of the day, the lab was going to show me that my hormones were off.
Right.
And so I really took matters into my own hands. And not only did I regulate my period to 1 cycle, but then I had no PMS anymore. I always had acne. I always would wake up at night with cramps. I relied on Midol to get by, and that's just the way that things were. That's what I was always told. And movies and commercials and everything, show us that. And so then I started to teach my clients this, and all of a sudden women who would have to nap in the afternoons and not have the energy to do what they wanted to or go to work and not have to have a heat pack with them. I just saw the ripple effect of that. And so I know that if I can do it, then absolutely anyone can as well and feel better in their body.
Cool. And as unfortunate as that was, that you got to that point and you turned to 2 experts for help, it wasn't viable. It wasn't pathways you could have gone down, and therefore inspired you on the journey that you're on. And now you're helping hundreds, thousands of other women. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes our biggest challenges are our greatest blessings. Yes. And like you say, your mess into your message.
I didn't make that up, but yes.
But it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your message now? Again, coming back to stress is inevitable, right? Whether that is the health circumstances that people have found themselves in, family life, social obligations, all that stuff. How do we start bringing in the bliss?
Yes. So my approach is a very nourishment-based, feminine-based approach. And what I mean by that is, on my journey, I was always looking for the perfect diet. Like, what should I eat? What should I not eat? What's this influencer doing for a workout? What's the latest supplement? Or whether it's fasting or this. I was always chasing the next thing. And I realize it's really about the fundamentals. It's about simplicity. And so, and also knowing that there is something right for you specifically, right? What might not be great for me might be great for you in that way. And so looking at the fundamentals, looking at how do you feel in your body? What makes you feel energized and like you don't have any symptoms after you eat? And so that first piece is that mindset, a nourishment-based mindset, that feminine-based of how do I feel after I eat something? How do I want to feel, throughout the day, and making decisions and choices based off of that. I would say those are the mindset pieces. And then we get into the practical, the food, the lifestyle. One of the biggest things that I hear in my practice is about constipation. And it's darn hard to feel blissful if you're constipated. Yeah.
Well, one of the quickest hacks to feeling blissful is nothing better than a good bowel movement, right?
It's true. And so, one of the biggest keys I would say is to ensure adequate magnesium intake, because most North Americans are deficient in magnesium, and unless you live by an ocean and go for dips, it's pretty hard to get magnesium through food right now. And that's why foods like cacao that you have at the light cellar, right? Cacao elixirs, magnesium like Epsom salts, for example. I like to use an oil or spray, but you can also take a magnesium biglycinate supplement, for example. I would make sure magnesium is in check, making sure you have quality water so you actually enjoy drinking water. And even 5-10 minute walks are going to help get your bowels moving. And so even little simple practical things like that will take the road to bliss.
Yeah, well, let's just kind of touch in on that point about magnesium. I mean, it's one of is it like some people call it like the master mineral?
I'm obsessed with magnesium.
Yeah. It's like so essential for almost every function of your body. Yes. So critical, and yet as you mentioned, a lot of people are kind of chronically depleted in it. And you also mentioned another interesting point about either being in the ocean or putting it on topically, and just speak to just a little bit about that absorption and how that is an effective way to bring magnesium into the body, because we often think, okay, I gotta take a pill, I gotta eat foods, and that's great, and you mentioned some good resources that way, but this idea of topical absorption.
Yeah, so the body best absorbs magnesium through the skin. And it's really easy to overdo magnesium when you actually take it orally, because you can get diarrhea if you overdo it there. Okay, and as you mentioned, it is a mega mineral. It has over 300 processes in the body, and coffee and sugar deplete it. And a lot of the time also you can tell if you're deficient if you have an increase of anxiety, have trouble sleeping, eye twitching, or restless legs, or chocolate cravings. So really the best way to absorb the magnesium is through the skin, and I recommend putting it on at night. And it's also a lot more affordable to put it on topically as well.
Right. Yeah. So sprays, you can get magnesium like oil sprays and put on topically. Lotions.
Epsom salt bath.
Yeah. The flakes, put them in. Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, it's great self-care activity too.
All right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So magnesium activating those bowels and those 300 other processes in the body. Good tip. So we got mindset, we have magnesium, and what's our third?
Well, I would really focus on, there's so many things, but what I'm really coming to right now is liver health. Right? So liver health can also look like irritability. It can look like waking up between 2 to 4 a.m. It really depends on what else might be going on. It can look like jawline acne as well, even stiff joints, energetically difficulty making decisions, and headaches, migraines. That's a big one. I see a lot of liver sluggishness when it comes to migraines or fibroids, PMS. Liver is a big one, and the best way to support the liver is through bitter foods, but also goji berries and schisandra, which you carry in tincture form at the light cellar. This is going to be really key. You are going to feel so much more energized when you really support the liver. So foods, black coffee, okay, but not on an empty stomach for hormone balance. We want grapefruit, arugula. Okay, there's some herbal tinctures that you sell here as well that I love. Yeah. Again, just easy to ingest. But my favorite is the goji and schizandra.
Yeah, also known to be kind of very classic beautifying herbs within Chinese herbal medicine.
Yes, actually you sell a dragon herbs tincture that I love. It's called Shanghai Woman.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah, I love that.
And talk about bliss. I mean, the goji berries are known as like the happy berry. Yeah, handful a day will keep you smiling all the way.
I love goji berries. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we got mindset, we got magnesium, and then the master organ, the liver.
Yes.
And focusing on that.
Yeah.
So this term, hormone balance, it's even come up in our conversation. What does that mean? I mean, because, someone's skeptical, like, well, what do you mean, like, balance your hormones?
Yes, great question. So hormone balance, you'll know you feel your hormones are balanced when you're sleeping through the night, right? Because low progesterone can impact sleep towards the later half of your cycle. You will have a stable mood. You'll have stable energy. You will have a body weight that is ideal to your body without trying, right? Because estrogen likes to hang out in the hips and thighs, and cortisol or blood sugar likes to hang out in the belly. You will have clear skin, right? Your hair will be thick and grow nicely. You are going to feel like yourself, essentially. And the opposite of that is, again, dull skin or breaking out skin, hair loss or hair thinning, trouble sleeping, irritability, low libido, hot flashes. So these are all symptoms that our body is trying to speak with us, and you're obviously in the right place to learn the language.
Cool. All right. So you've got a class coming up, on that topic of hormone balance and the idea of turning your cycle into your superpower. Yeah. You mentioned a little bit about your story. I'm sure that's where you really dug into this and have come to this. And speaking about your cycle being your superpower, tell us more.
Yeah. So I used to think that I would have period on, period off, and that was it. And then I would always feel guilty of those weeks where I felt so tired and unmotivated and grumpy or sad, or my hunger. I would just be so much hungry, and I'd think to myself, what's wrong with me? Why am I so hungry? So we actually have 4 different cycles that you go through each month. Okay, so you start with your menstruation, then you have your follicular, which is your inner spring. You have your ovulatory, your inner summer, your luteal, your inner autumn, and then again we come back to our inner winter. And each of these phases can be optimized for daily life, such as when you have a presentation to give, or when you want to have date night in versus date night out, versus when you are going to be having certain foods and really being able to modify this uncomplicatedly, so simply, right? To feel your best and actually start to understand your body so you can love it. And I know I don't say that lightly, because I was at war with my body for most of my life. And learning about my menstrual cycle totally was empowering. And oh my gosh, imagine, a world where women aren't like, yeah, I'm in my luteal phase, so I'm gonna, skip on the night out with you guys, and I'll catch you in my next, my follicular phase or ovulatory phase, or just little things like that. It makes a huge difference.
Going with the body, right? Understanding its flow, its seasons.
Yes,
cycles.
Exactly. And then you can appreciate, you can plan around it. And then obviously thinking in the future, then when perimenopause, menopause arrive, then you can go through that with grace and ease, because otherwise it can be, an added stress to the body and the mind. And so, but this is, you can still do this at any age and any stage of your life as well.
Cool. So if this sounds of interest to you, we've got a class coming up, which Selin will be speaking to, how to turn your cycle into your superpower, and great opportunity just to spend, it's like 90 minutes, right? Or did we make it 2 hours?
It'll be 90 minutes.
90 minutes, okay. And then of course she'll be available afterwards, but if you want to spend 90 minutes with Selin and kind of pick her brain and learn everything that she's got on this topic, she's the author of Painless Periods, a book that we carry in store. You can find it on Amazon, that type of thing as well. Great addition to the class. And so tell us a little bit about the details. when that's coming up and who that class is for. If it's already not kind of ringing bells already, just that confirmation of who should be there in the room.
Mm-hmm. You should be in the room if you have been getting irregular periods, spotting in between, missing periods, anything to do with your cycle that you're thinking, this doesn't really seem normal, okay, or right, or even if you have any bit of PMS symptom, cramps, breast tenderness, severe mood swings, clotting, anything like that, it's going to be a really safe, engaging, fun way to learn about your body and exactly what to do, exactly which foods, supplements, herbs, lifestyle practices that you can take. And it doesn't even have to be everything. You can pick one thing and that can change your entire energy levels and how you feel on your skin and all this kind of stuff. The class is January 27th at 7 p.m. So we're going to spend Friday night together learning, having samples, and really sharing. I really care about having a class that's engaging and interactive rather than me being like, and this is what you need to do, right? So we're going to have fun. And, I invite you to share this with a friend, bring your mom, bring your daughter, and let's have some fun.
Totally. I guarantee we all know somebody in our life, that could really benefit from this information, and sounds like an amazing time. So go to lightseller.ca, and on our live class and event page, all the details are there. Registration is open, and feel free to connect with Selin. So she's on Instagram as
_lusciousliving_.
All right, amazing. And of course, all the kind of contact and details will be below this video wherever you're watching. Give it a thumbs up, share a comment. What did you think? Those 3 little tips: mindset, magnesium, and then the master organ, the liver, taking your life from the inevitable stress to choosing bliss. And we also got into a little bit about hormone balance and turning your cycle into superpower. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, enjoy the day.